Around the world, there are many examples where sewage systems are designed to treat wastewater so that it can be reused in beneficial ways. Although it's rare to use treated water to drink as potable, it's common around the world to use treated non-potable water for irrigation, toilet flushing, and laundry. As far-ranging as France and Florida, the concept of fit-for-use application of water resource is key. Why should we use valuable treated drinking water to irrigate our lawn or to flush down the toilet?
One of the key issues here on the BC West Coast and in many parts of North America is the advantage of using a snowpack as a water storage mechanism. So on the West Coast, a large portion of our water supply is held in the snow so it can melt over the summer and replenish the reservoir that we're draining all during the summer during dry weather periods. So as the climate change results in changes in behavior, temperature in particular in this case, and a shallower or less deep snowpack, we run into the danger of losing our water storage partway through the summer, as has happened on a number of occasions, particularly in the case of Sechelt, for instance, in 2012 and in 2015, where the lack of water resulted in the lake drawing down to a point where Chapman Creek, where they have their water intake, no longer had water for the community.
The Sechelt Water Treatment and Resource Centre is right within the urban part of Sechelt. Rather than being isolated in a way, its greenhouse and treatment plant is nestled above a wetland park and across the street from single-family residential homes.
The wastewater treatment plant that was recently built in the municipality or district of Sechelt is an interesting example of a community adaptation to climate change. That treatment plant is able to achieve the highest level of water quality for reclaimed water quality in the province of British Columbia, and for that matter in the world. It's the highest standard that you can achieve with a biological treatment process.
The treatment plant has tanks, storage, and trucking area on a lower level. The upper and public areas showcase the treatment technology, as well as a wide variety of low-impact storm source controls. A key element is a greenhouse, which houses plants that are part of the water treatment technology. Let's take a tour inside.
Hi, my name is Morgan Banks. I'm a Class 2 operator at the Sechelt New Wastewater Resource Centre, and I've been operating this new floating batch reactor system for a year now, and with many possibilities of reuse of the water that we filter, and also the reuse of biosolids. We're here in the greenhouse, and this is the floating batch reactor. At this point here, this tank is now in the reaction phase with raw sewage. The bugs are breaking down the sewage to simpler forms. The settling phase allows the bacteria to settle while leaving the clear liquid on top. And there's a time frame for settling, and once it has settled enough that we have good clear liquid, it will be decanted to a secondary tank.
Inside the greenhouse, the key function of the plants is to grow roots that extend into the sewage effluent.
Being in the greenhouse, the design of this greenhouse as far as the plants that we were going to plant, I personally thought it was going to be tropical, looking at the pictures from the design. But we decided to go with native plants. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was, but we did go native, and as the process was developing and the plants were very young and they got established, we had room to experiment, so we would go with a little bit of tropical. The surprising part about this whole process is that we've been getting lots of tomato plants. This is all natural because they've been coming into the sewage and they've been adhering to the baskets, and they're thriving quite well. And as you can see, this is almost December and we're still getting tomatoes. This FBR system we found through after the plants got established, which was probably about 6 months being in the greenhouse. We're waiting and anticipating the growth of the roots into the FBR, and the first ones to show up were the sedge grass and we've cut this 3 times already, trimmed them down. They have the biggest root base, surprisingly, of all these plants in the greenhouse. All right, after the decant has happened and it's gone into a secondary tank, the decanted liquid will now enter a filtrate system, and this is their ultra fine filter system, membranes. They're really, really fine filters that actually remove Giardia, typhoid, diphtheria, very, very small bacteria and suspended material. They use these filter systems in our drinking water, which is surprising because we do use them in wastewater, because we want to be able to possibly even use the water later on for other purposes. I will just show you a sample here. This is our this is the decant off of the FBR. It looks kind of cloudy. And then if you look here, you can see how clear the water is when it is actually filtered. It almost looks like drinking water. But now it needs to be one final step, and that is it needs to be disinfected, so we'll do UV disinfection, ultraviolet disinfection. So the bottom line for the whole process is once the water has been filtered, it's ready for reuse, and it's been disinfected so it can be handled. There has been talks with corporations and companies out there to use our reuse water. Our final permeate could be used for the gravel pit that is nearby to wash their gravel. There's been suggestions from the golf course if they could possibly reuse the water for watering the grass, because they use quite a bit of water for keeping the golf courses green.
The Sechelt facility is only one of several highly advanced water treatment and reuse installations in British Columbia. For example, at University of British Columbia, the Centre for Interactive Research and Sustainability created a building that integrates full wastewater treatment in a showcase installation. The treated water is reused throughout the building for outdoor use, toilets, and for select potable uses. Dockside Green in Victoria has its own wastewater treatment plant and recirculates through a surface stream as part of the treatment process. Water is also reused for landscape irrigation and toilet flushing.
Currently, the BC government is making some interesting changes, or has made changes to the plumbing code to enable dual plumbing in buildings so that buildings can have both a non-potable and a potable water line. As we move forward, it'll be important for the community, for stakeholders in the community, to discuss, to understand what is involved. Patterns can change, and we can make better utilization of what is likely to be extremely limited water supplies in the not too distant future.